Welcome to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number 176. Tonight we return for the Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament, bracket number 3. This is a double elimination tournament, so we're in the loser's bracket right now. Though not one of these whiskeys would I call a loser. They're all very good whiskeys. But I'm trying to find out if it's possible for me to find my top favorites. The basic rules are these. It's a head-to-head blind competition where the palate, nose, mouthfeel, burn, finish are all primary factors. Price, value, and availability are used as the tiebreakers. And that's happened a few times. The basic question is this. If I was given these two whiskeys 5 nights in a row, which would I choose 3 nights out of the 5? As part of the fun, I try to guess which whiskey is which because I've mixed the glasses up. So glass number 1 in this case will be Iron Wolf. This is a 6-year rye whiskey, Texas rye. And then glass number 2 will be the Prideful Goat. And this is a high proof coming in at 115. So let's look at these competitors. Iron Wolf Straight Rye, aged for 6 years, is 90 proof. Comes from Spicewood, Texas, in the hill country west of Round Rock, southeast of Marble Falls on Highway 71. I couldn't find any reviews of this single barrel release that's sold only at the Iron Wolf Ranch or at Specs liquor stores in Texas. I have had a couple of bottles of Iron Wolf bourbon, and it is amazing. It's got a high rye mash bill, and when I did a blind tasting with the Iron Wolf bourbon and Blanton's Gold, the Iron Wolf won. I literally thought the Iron Wolf bourbon was the Blanton's. But now they have this rye. And is it as good as their bourbon? I think so, even though it won its first round against Oaken, Eden, Rye, and Rumba, but then it lost its second round, and I think it was going against Still Austin Rye. So this is now the loser's bracket, and we'll see how it does. Iron Wolf is, again, a family-owned business. It's not big league. Prideful Goat here is going to be probably more widely distributed, I think. But the Iron Wolf Straight Rye, this runs you $52.62 at Specs. It is not available at Total Wine or Goody Goody. But Prideful Goat Straight Rye whiskey. This is on. I got this on sale for a ridiculous $39.99 at Total Wine, but I think that's because they discontinued it. This is 115 proof, unfiltered 6-year-old. So I got 2 6-year-old rye whiskeys here, one 90 proof and one 115 proof. And we also get some more details about Prideful Goat. The mash bill is 95.5. This is coming from MGP. It's got a char 3.5 in the barrels, but it's been bottled and sold by Gulf Coast Distilling, now Giant Texas Distilling out of Houston. And the proprietor of this label, this brand, is Randy Sullivan of Dallas. He is a host of Bourbon Real Talk. That's one of my favorite whiskey channels, Bourbon Real Talk. Randy and his wife and his partner there, they go into some nitty-gritty about behind-the-scenes stuff going on in the whiskey industry. So to me, it's a fascinating website or YouTube site. This line of Prideful Goat was first released in 2020. It is now available at Specs for $66. Total Wine's no longer available, and Goody Goody has it for $63. So those are the two competitors. So on to the contest. The history behind both of these is really pretty amazing because it just shows the entrepreneurial spirit of two Texans. And you know, the Iron Wolf guys, they've got a ranch, their family, they've got a venue, they have events there. And so, you know, they've got that small town, hill country flavor going on. Prideful Goat, on the other hand, has been marketed pretty heavily. I mean, Randy's website or his YouTube show is really quite famous. So, you know, he's got a huge audience, and so his stuff is marketed all around the country. I think so. You know, the history behind these is very similar. So I'm going to say history's a tie. Bottle label and marketing advantage goes to somebody here. Let's see. Iron Wolf has got this beastly bottles with this metal label on the front, and so it's really kind of imposing and scary. You know, they have a pet wolf is why you get the name Iron Wolf. And so it's very attractive, but it's also very kind of imposing. Prideful Goat has got a goat on the front. There you go. More of a traditional looking bottle and label. And so if I was going to evaluate just from artistic merit, the appearance of the bottles and the label, uh, and then the marketing as well, I think the advantage goes to Prideful Goat there. Now let's look at the appearance of the whiskeys in the bottle. It looks to me like Iron Wolf is a little bit darker. Not by much, but that's what it looks like to me. Iron Wolf is darker. In these two glasses, let's see if I can see that as well. Visually, I'm thinking this may end up being the Iron Wolf, and so that would be have a #1 label on the bottom. So I'm thinking that one's darker. So just going off the visuals, I'm going to give visuals to Iron Root. Not Iron Root, Iron Wolf. There you go. Uh-oh. That's going to be a thing I'm going to slip up on because I really like Iron Root as well as Iron Wolf. There you go. All right, so composition, Prideful Goat has got a lot of clarity on their site where it details in their bottle, where it details even the char level. You know, it's got bottle number 1389, batch number 3, 6-year, 95 rye, 5 malted barley. So, you know, this has got a lot of aged in New American Oak char, 3.5. I mean, man, on the bottle, Prideful Goats just got all the information there. So I think they're going to win for clarity there. And then they also include, you know, this is from Indiana. Yeah, distilled in Indiana. And then bottled by Gulf Coast Distillers. Gulf Coast Distillers has changed names about three or four times. So currently it is Giant, Texas. But for clarity, you know, Iron Wolf, it's got straight rye, 90 proof. And somewhere on here it says 6 years. Yeah, there's this little tag up here. 6-year rye whiskey. There you go. Hand selected. Whatever that means. But something about this bottle that bothers me. It says distilled in Texas, produced by IWD Enterprise, Iron Wolf Distillery Enterprise. Iron Wolf Ranch and Distillery. Bottled in Tulia, Texas. So it doesn't say distilled by Iron Wolf, but I called them. And I talked to Mrs. Iron Wolf, I think is who I talked to. And she assured me that everything they sell is made and aged there on site. But just the language on the bottle calls that into question. I mean, it's just not clear. So I think for composition, Prideful Goat has the greater clarity for the win. Let's go to the nose. I'll start on the left because I think this is going to be Iron Wolf. It's got a pleasant nose. A little bit of sweetness. Just a hint of rye. Some caramel. Very pleasant nose. Let's go to this one on my right. A little bit of rye flavor going on there, but not much else. At 115 proof, I would have thought I would have gotten more of a nose on that one, but the first one had the nose. So nose goes to the one on the left, which could be Iron Wolf, maybe? We'll see. Now it's time for the palate. Trust me, I'll be able to tell the difference between these on the palate because Prideful Goat's 115 proof. So that's a 25-point proof difference. I'm thinking that's the Iron Wolf. You get a little bit of sweetness, candy, rye. Man, I mean, you can tell that I've had a couple more sips than just the competition. This is just a favorite, even though it lost in the second round. It's like, what do you do? All these are good, but Iron Wolf, I'm convinced that was the number one on the bottom. I had an appropriate burn for 90 proof, but it was not 115 proof. So that's very good. Let me rinse my mouth here. Capo Chico. Long finish on that. All right, the one on my right should be a number 2, I think. And that's pretty good. I'm getting rye flavor all the way through. This is not as sweet as the one on my left. Definitely some barrel on there. Neither one of these really had Texas funk. I mean, if this is Prideful Go, that's MGP. But the Iron Wolf, I did not get Texas funk on that at all. Now the Prideful Goat here, number 2, the one on the right, I'm getting just a thin line of bitterness. And that's what I'm finding. All 3 of the high, oh man, now I've got the hiccups. All 3 of the high proof ryes have got this thin line of bitterness that goes through them. What I have discovered in this competition is that I really like high proof bourbons. When I say high proof, the highest proof that I've got is 117. I think that's an iron root. And although I think My Still Austin Rye is 117. But of the bourbons, the highest one I've got is Iron Root, and that's 117. High proof bourbons I enjoy. All three of these high proof ryes, cask strengths, I'm struggling with. Okay, so I'm just going to flat out tell you that I think this is Prideful Goat. On the palate and taste, I'm going to go with the one on the left. I mean, it's just deliciousness all the way through. It's got a long finish, an appropriate burn. Prideful Goat here on the right, this one on the right, it's got an appropriate burn for, 115 proof. It's not, the burn doesn't bother me. It's not the mouthfeel of the burn. The mouthfeel is not as rich as the one on the left, the 90 proof Iron Wolf. So I'm not sure what's going on with these high proof ryes. Neat or mixer, both of these are over $50. I just don't know about mixing something like Iron Wolf in a cocktail. I mean, if you're in the 40s and below, I would consider it in the 40s. If you're in the 30s and below, sure. But this is just so good and neat. I don't know about cocktails. Prideful Goat, on the other hand, the flavor I'm just not digging as much. I mean, it's not bad, but it's just nowhere near as rich as the one on the left. And so, yeah, but at $60, man, that's an expensive whiskey for a cocktail. I don't know. So neater mixer, I'm gonna say both of these are better neat because of the price. So I don't know. That's gonna be a tie. So let me make sure. Let's do the reveal here. Let me make sure I know what I'm talking about. The one on my left should be number 1, and in fact, it is. The one on the right is number 2. So this is Prideful Goat, and the other one's Iron Wolf. I don't know how many times I've said Iron Root, thinking I'm saying Iron Wolf. That's just going to be a thing. Because I've had a lot more Iron Root than I have Iron Wolf. It's going to be a struggle. All right, so which is which? Yeah, I got that right. I guess which one? Actually, pretty easy. Price, value, and availability, though, that's a problem because the Prideful Goat, I think, is more available, but it's also $10 or so, $10 or $12 more expensive than the Iron Wolf. So price, value, and availability. Man, value. I'm gonna just have to give this to Iron Wolf, based on the palate and the nose. So yeah, for the win, Iron Wolf. To me, I mean, this is very drinkable. This is fantastic. Even though it lost to Still Austin, this is not a loser whiskey, man. This is excellent whiskey right here. So kudos to Iron Wolf. So there's the competition. There's the contest. There's the winner. And Prideful. Now don't get me wrong. Prideful Goat is good, especially if you like higher proof. But I am just finding that the higher proof ryes, there's something about it that's not reaching me. It's not doing me right. So I'm not sure what's going on with my palate, but so this I could still heartily recommend. This is a very good whiskey. But tonight, Iron Wolf wins. All right, so what's happening next week? Oak and Eden Ryan Rumba lost in its first round to Iron Wolf, right? And I haven't tested it again, so let's go Ryan Rumba versus the Still Austin cask strength. Because again, all the cask strength whiskeys I'm struggling with. Oak and Eden Ryan Rumba is amazing. Okay, and so even though it lost on the first round, it deserves to be tested again. Conclusion. Now, some of you may know that Stab the Dragon opened up a new channel called Blended Scotch Reviews. I'll be alternating those reviews with this Texas Rye Whiskey tournament, but not on a regular schedule. My last two videos have been the blended Scotch videos, so the next couple of shows will be Texas Ryes, and then once in a while I toss in a social commentary or a Bible study or something like that. So, it takes time, money, and shelf space available to collect the Scotch and related equipment. As bottles become available, I'll go with the Scotch. Well, that's it for now. In hoc signo vinces, this is Stab the Dragon, out here.